What it do, baby? Why am I so big? Why am I so big?
Yo.
Oh, hey. We back.
How we doing?
We back.
Season 2. Baby.
Season 2. Season 2 serving Sonic. In season 2, we decided to fire Jake, which is why
he is gone. He is no longer coming back.
Which is why we've replaced him with someone new. But no, in all seriousness, folks, so happy to be back with you for season 2. Thanks for making season 1 such a blast. My name is Lee, and I'm with you as always with my co-host, our headbanging metal savant. Savant's a great word. Like, you should be thrilled with that word.
I am flattered.
Hunter Hamilton.
Hey, how we doing out there, people?
People are good. People are super good. And we have a special guest today as well. He is a comedian, musician, all-around internet sensation. Handsome dude. Alex Sandoval. How you doing, Alex? Thank you so much for being on the show with us.
I'm good. I'm excited to hang out with a couple savants. You know?
Yeah, well, one savant. Savant.
Oh, shucks. I'm blushing.
Yeah, one savant. And we established actually at the end of our last episode there that I'm an idiot. So you're with a savant and an idiot today.
Oh, man.
Which is not bad. You're hanging out with, if you even that out, that's two normal guys. Guys.
It evens out to just normal.
Yeah. Hanging out with two guys. Yeah.
It evens out.
Yeah. But Sando, before we get too deep into the episode here, I would love to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about yourself. Specifically, we talked about your comedian musician were the first two descriptors I put out there when I was talking about you there in the intro here. And I just want to give Hunter, as well as our listeners, an idea of what I'm talking about. So this is an original piece from Alex Sandoval.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Just having a bad day. No hash browns at Tim Hortons and the slowest fucking subway. Babe, I can't see coffee stains. The dark and stormy weather is above my pay grade. I've been working like a dog. Oh, it's time to take a break. Open up the washroom stall. Oh, for fuck's sake. There's on the seat, on the toilet seat.
Mate, I'm gonna make a makeshift fucking toilet paper seat so my ass doesn't get drenched.
There's on the seats, on the toilet seats.
Better learn to aim that piss or take a class to aim that dick hole.
I got a shit, but there's only one stall. The toilet stinks, but there's one down the hall. The women's washroom's always clean. I open it up and what do I see? Piss on the seats, on the toilet seats.
I'm genuinely confused. Like, I'm confused. Like, are y'all squatting over this thing? What is happening?
Piss on the seat, on the toilet.
Yeah, really, really good stuff there.
Oh, Alex, well done.
Really good stuff there.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that either.
Yeah. What do you call that one? Is it piss on the seat or?
It's yeah. Let's go with
relatable topic.
How did you know? How did you know? Yeah.
Well, can I get a little musical commentary from you, Alex, on that song? What was the inspiration? Did you just walk into the toilet and was like, man, I gotta rant?
It's been a number of times I've walked into toilets and there's piss on seats.
Wow.
And one day I was just so sick of it. I was like, I need to write a song about this. And I was already having a bad day, you know?
Oh,
so,
genius.
It just happened, right? Also, thank you for that. I self-proclaimed I'm comedian. I'm not a comedian, but I just like to make music with sometimes what I consider some funny lyrics. So that's kind of my background. I'm a musician. I know Lee through work and back in the day, a million years ago. He was also my high school bully. Really got me for a number of years, and eventually we became tight. But he's not my high school bully. But yeah, that's essentially how I know Lee, and super excited to be here today. And thanks for having me, guys.
Right on. Well, piss on the seat is a banger around these parts. Every now and again, I'll scroll through one of Sando's social media channels, and he's got some song cracking that's usually released within a week's time that is vulgar, has a lot of swearing, and right up my alley because of that. So
I love it. I love it. Oh, well, you've gained yourself a new subscriber, my friends.
Yeah.
Got to get the word out for you.
Yeah. Well, because I know you have a couple of Instagrams where you like to post some of your content. I know you have one that's dedicated to your music, and then you have the one where you post some other like funnier things as well.
Yeah. So
what are those accounts?
So Alex of Sands is where I just post some silly stuff. And just like personal, it's like a personal page type thing. And then Sando's music is where I try to take it a little more seriously. I studied classical music at U of T, so I've been doing a couple of gigs.
There it is
right there.
Modest, but we got it out of him.
No, but
We got it out of him.
Who's the savant here? It's Alex.
We got it out of him, Vic. I was just gonna say kids and folks at the same time, and I was like, we got it out of him. Fuck. It's like, oh, I was like, fuck. Jesus Christ. But no, yeah, we got it out of him. That's where we were going there. So Alex has some authority when speaking on music. So I think it makes him a fantastic guest for Serve Sonic.
Yeah, it works out. And I'm going to talk about Beethoven's latest EP. I hope you guys
piss on the seat.
Piss on the seat.
Yeah. Piss on the seat.
Noise.
Piss on the seat overture. Yeah.
Overture.
But yeah, folks. So we are Serve Sonic, the music podcast. Special guest Sando with us today, and we're gonna jump right in, folks, to our new music review. If you're new to the show, if you haven't been a part of the Serve Sonic experience as of yet, well, lucky for you. Within the first 6-ish minutes here, we've already shown you on YouTube actual piss on a toilet seat, and on podcast format, you've heard someone sing about that piss, which I'm sure you can imagine what that piss on the toilet seat looked like. So welcome aboard. Happy to have you. But what we're doing for our new music review today is FKA Twigs, CAPRISONGS. Now, it was tough. I know Hunter, Jake, and I, we have a group chat where we talk about what we're going to be covering. And the group chat was on fire the last couple of days, folks, because couple of big releases to start off the new year 2022. We had obviously The Weeknd, Dawn FM. Yeah, an absolute kaboom, a great album. But no, that's not the one we're doing. We had Earl Sweatshirt release his latest album, Sick. Another fantastic album. Big fan of Earl's. And then we had FKA Twigs with CAPRISONGS, and it was a debate back and forth. Which one should we do? Finally, we landed on CAPRISONGS, and I'm happy that we did, because this album has absolute bangers, if I'm being honest. So before we get into anything too crazy about it, we're going to start off with the song Pamplemousse, which is French for pamplemousse. So this is FKA Twigs, Twiggy, Pamplemousse. Enjoy.
With our phones out, 8 semi haze looking Girl Scouts. Wow, you smell like the Croix, pamplemousse, moon stars in your face. Filter face, look to me, swag, 2, 3, tap my heart and make it feel like you see me. You know you love it, you know you love it, yeah. You love the time that you don't, but yeah, you love it. You know you love it, got yourself, yeah. Get that attention, yeah, you love it. Never slow down. You know you love it, you know you love it, yeah. You love the time that you don't, but yeah, you love it. You know you love it, got yourself, yeah. Get that attention, yeah, you love it. Never slow down.
Okay, Twigs. I know everyone probably annoys you about this, but that song with Dua Lipa, Why Don't You Love Me Anymore? When are you gonna release it? I'm tired of listening to it on loop. Listen, when it came out, I was going through a breakup. I used to walk around Paris with on repeat for this song. We need it to be released. Please, Twig, come on. Make my wish come true.
There you go.
There's a lot going on in that song.
That's an energetic song, to say the least. So have either of you, before we get into this review, have either of you listened to FKA Twigs before this album or otherwise?
No, never.
I have not. This is the first experience.
Okay, so this is brand new for both of you guys.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. That's what we hope for, is to bring people new music. So far, we've done that. Piss on the Seat, 1. FKA Twigs, 2.
Boom.
Heavy hitters, folks, but FKA Twigs. So what we're going to talk about first is FKA Twigs' personal life, how she came up, who she is, who she was, all that sort of stuff, who she's going to be, these sorts of things, the staples. But FKA Twigs, she's from England. She's from a town which I'm gonna have to absolutely butcher the pronunciation of. It's Cheltenham.
That was a lot of effort. Yeah, I gotta see this for this.
Yeah, Cheltenham is where she's from, but she's more associated with London and LA now, is where she frequents mostly. But how she got her start is she was actually a backup dancer. Some of the people that she did backup dancing for while she was living in London: Kylie Minogue, ever heard of her? Ed Sheeran, ever heard of him? Jessie J, who? So she got her start that way. And when she turned 18, she started working with some producers in London after she moved there from Cheltenham. Cheltenham. Yeah. But by her own admission, she said that she made a lot of quote unquote really bad demos when she was first starting out. Join the club. I'm still making really bad demos over here. Like that's actually kind of my brand, is bad music at this point. Really.
Yeah, you guys heard my song. That's just a bad demo. So
that's the best song I've ever made.
That's man. That's the humble as well.
Best song I've ever made. But during those early years, in one of the sessions, she actually wrote a song called "I'm Your Doll." And anybody who's an FKA Twigs fan out there, that song actually later appeared on her third EP, which was simply titled EP3. So she's someone who I think really likes to tinker with a lot of her music, obviously from evidence with that. And she's had stints in LA and other major music cities as well, but she's kind of remained ultra unique, even though she's moved from like music city to music city a little bit. And that's something that we can kind of touch on in a little bit later. She used to work actually as a youth worker, and she was actually let go when the government kind of had to make some budget cuts. And as you know, every stable government, whenever they need to make some budget cuts, they go to the healthcare and social services sectors. And that's where she was working. So unfortunately, she lost her job, but it was kind of an aligning of the stars, because this led her to meeting a local A&R from one of London's biggest underground labels at the time, Young Turks, which is still a huge label. And the rest is kind of history, as they say. So that brings us to CAPRISONGS. So CAPRISONGS is being billed as a mixtape, is how it's being talked about, and how she wants to talk about it as well. But between all the EPs she's done, the studio albums, and this is actually her 6th official release. So if you want to think of it as that. And it follows Magdalene, which was released in 2019. So it's been a couple of years since Twigsy has released something. I'm happy to hear her back out there making music, because this album in particular, I think, does a lot of interesting things for where she could go and what she's establishing here with this album. So on this album, I know that you've listened to the album already, Hunter. Sando, this is your kind of intro to it. On this album, you hear a lot of different genres. I'll name the ones that I hear, and Hunter, you can fact check me if there's any that I've missed here that you would add. Sure. So we've got Afrobeat. I think we just heard a little bit of that on Pamplemousse, as well as other songs that exist on the album. We've got R&B. We've got pop. We've got industrial. We've got soul. We've got trap. That's the 6 that I have there. Hunter, am I missing any that you're like, Lee, egregious, you're missing this one?
No, man, I was gonna say R&B, heavy R&B.
Heavy R&B.
Heck yeah, yeah.
For sure. And even when you get into some of the more like specific kind of sounds that you hear when we're talking about influences from other major artists, in the industrial, I hear Sophie, rest in peace, Sophie. She is kind of like the pop industrial goddess, right? Like she really over the last few years made some incredible records that really steal from a lot of industrial roots, but in a pop sort of way. And then the other one with that same sort of tone, maybe more on the pop side, is Grimes. I hear a lot of Grimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So those are two other artists that I think she definitely is compared to a lot, and I guess for good reason when you listen to this album. So Twigs has said that this project is a, quote, journey back to myself through my amazing collaborators and friends. First of all, what I want to say is, shouts out friends. Huh? Shouts out friends. Yeah. What would you do without friends? What would we do without friends?
I don't even know.
3 separate podcasts, probably. More content. 3 individual podcasts. But shouts out friends. So that's a great thing. Just be, hey, my friends really rooted me, and this is what I've made because of it, is basically what I get out of that. And that's awesome. So shouts out that. It operates kind of like a best of / like greatest hits while being entirely new music. That's how it sounds anyways. Like if you've ever listened to any of other FKA Twigs stuff, it's not as accessible as this. This is some of her most accessible work I've ever heard, in the way of like poppiest, or just like the most like radio friendly. And it's still not very radio friendly. I don't think this is going to get on many radios, but it's the closest I think she'll stray that way. And you can see that in some of the people that she's collaborated with on this album, right? Like she's got The Weeknd, easily the biggest person she's ever collaborated with. I don't know how much bigger you could get than The Weeknd right now when you're looking for collaborators.
Yeah, especially now.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's a short list, and The Weeknd's definitely on it. Georgia Smith, who's awesome in her own right, another English act there. Salieu, who we're going to be listening to on the track we have after. And Daniel Caesar, another Canadian act who shouts out Daniel Caesar. That guy rocks. So you definitely sort of see her veering more towards this like superstar, megastar status of the people that she's bringing in. But before we go any further, a really, really important question that I wanted to ask you guys. Really important for me to ask you guys. FKA Twigs, right? Look at how it's spelled. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. FKA Twigs. Yeah. Would you, if you just read that, would you say FKA Twigs, or would you say formerly known as Twigs? If you just like, you know, you're just seeing it for the first time, you're reading it. You're reading it.
Yeah.
Just because it's in caps, I was initially gonna go with like FKA Twigs, and like that was my initial response.
Right.
That's actually what I thought you would say. But I think the first is what you said.
Yeah.
I don't think it would go formerly known as. I don't think I would think that.
Right. You weren't thinking like fuck koala ass Twigs.
No, it's definitely
Me neither. Definitely me neither. Yeah, I wasn't either. What about you, Hunter? I can see you're the gears are turning.
Well, I actually didn't pick up on formerly known as. I think that's just awesome. But the letters itself make a statement on its own. So FKA, I mean, that's what I read. I didn't, but formerly, like both of them are really good. But I think I prefer the first one.
So here's the thing: I don't know what she intended. I think for the most part, people call her FKA Twigs. Like everyone I've ever heard talk about her calls her
you would
FKA Twigs.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure FKA is short form for formerly known as. Like I'm not.
I think you're right.
Like I'm not stupid, right? Like I'm an idiot, but I'm not stupid.
Like you've seen FKA used before as a formerly known.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a great question. Okay, so that is known. Okay.
If you were to type in FKA on Google, like FKA abbreviation, it would say formerly known as. I'm certain, unless it says it just has like Google just yells at you.
Screams in your face.
Yeah. Well, we know this trick. But yeah, so it's a real MGMT management type situation, right? Because that was the whole thing when MGMT came out too. People were like, "Oh, I love MGMT," and like I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be called management. But
Management.
But that's fine. And then they were just like, fuck it, we're MGMT. And I'm not sure if the same thing happened, here with FKA twigs. Anyways, important questions, hard-hitting questions here at Serve Sonic Season 2. But it feels like FKA, or formerly known as, either way, I'm calling her Twigsy. Twigsy is my favorite way to address her. So it feels like Twigsy is announcing her place kind of like among these megastars, like we were talking about, right? And is using a bit of a clip in, she even uses this clip in an interview or some sort of like, I don't know, like, so I'm assuming it was on social media, actually, probably not an interview, but it was at the end of the song that we just played, Pamplemousse, where there's a fan essentially just gushing over an unreleased song that she has with Dua Lipa and like begging her to release it because, you know, he's had to listen to it on YouTube while he's walking the streets of Paris, which is like the flexiest while also being like the goofiest, you know what I mean? Like plead. It's like, oh, like, come on, I'm walking through Paris and I have to YouTube your song. Like, come on, Twigsy, like do it already. It's like, bro.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be a short clip, and then he started mentioning a breakup, and I was like, "Oh, this is a long one."
Yeah, it's like, bro, like you need to just like Google one charity, Google one single charity, and just a little perspective. But anyways, it's funny though. It's a funny little clip. But I think it's a useful clip to kind of show where her mindset is during this album. Of she's announcing her place among these other major pop stars in the world. And it's fair because she's had a really difficult past year. If you don't know much about her, Twigs had a really, really tough 2021. She actually sued her former boyfriend, Shia LaBeouf, for assault in January of January 2021. So obviously some heavy stuff. It was a huge story, so I'd be surprised if you guys haven't heard even a little bit of that. I know when that was coming out, it was kind of floating around the internet, but and Shia pretty much admitted it right away, which is really, really sad for her. But you can see the album reflects some of that emotion that she's feeling through that process. There's a lot of lyrics of like empowerment and women being, quote, like the rock star of their relationships, as it's put in this one skit. And I think it's really her like reclaiming that position of like being a star of her relationship and feeling like she is, she's celebrated as opposed to, you know, battered or made to feel less than. So that's, I think, a really cool part, albeit sad, obviously, in a lot of ways, but a really cool part of this album too, of like this empowerment piece. All in all, to wrap things up, I think this song is sick.com really, really made the ultimate statement about it, and I think it's a very accurate one. They said that CAPRISONGS is healing music, and I think that's exactly right. It's healing music for FKA twigs. It's healing music for probably many of its listeners, and it's a statement that she's beyond what these tabloids are, beyond what this with this horrible situation she went through with her exes. She's a megastar, is what she is. She transcends a moment. She's present, right? Yep. All the time. So that's something that I really, really like about this album. Now, that being said, she kind of does go away from a lot of things that I really liked about Twigs' former work. She was really known for like the avant-garde. 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 She was really known for that. And that sort of being maybe like influenced by pop or influenced by R&B. But now I think it's the other way around. It's pop music that has influences of avant-garde or influences of these other things that make it a little bit weirder. But again, you know, like that doesn't necessarily make it better or worse. It just makes it definitely different from stuff she's done in the past. Yep. So yeah, that's FKA twigs. I give it a 8.1 industrial metal on metal snare sounds out of 10. You know, like that, dong, sort of thing, but like compressed really hard and it sounds dope.
Yep.
That's what I give it out of 10. So a really, really good album to start the new year. Do you guys have any comments that you want to make about any stuff I've said, FKA Twigs in general, the debate about formerly known as, if you've thought about something else, whether you think Caprisongs is a direct, is directly related to the children's drink Capri-Sun?
Capri-Sun, yeah.
Yeah, Capri-Sun, sorry. Whether that is better or worse than Welch's, all fair debate.
That's a debate. We have to put that in the poll, Lee. That is something, yeah. That is
of course.
to discuss after.
Gotta put a pin in that one for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, we did a 2-hour episode last time, so why not go for 3? Let's get into the absolute depths of Welch's versus Capri-Sun.
I definitely wanted to jump right out of my chair and dance My Little Tushy Off. You know, that song.
Well, because you got piss on your butt now, so you might as well stand.
I gotta dry it off somehow, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it was really, really fun, and I do definitely agree that there was like some like it's like pop influenced by avant-garde, because there's a lot of different techniques and stuff she was doing. Even that like massive voice clip at the end is just like kind of like very very new. We'll say.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, really, really loved him. And yeah, it's just like first time I'm hearing this guy, so super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised. Well, Lee, I really loved your review there. The connection to Grimes, that actually really surprised me, because I definitely can hear it now.
Yeah.
I really fell in love with the R&B side of the tracks, like Careless and Light Beamers. But I actually wanted to ask you a question, because there's multiple sound bites on this album. And I guess I wanted to know from you, what do you think? Why are they there? My hypothesis was that she put those on there as kind of like, it's maybe it could be, for a hypothesis again, an artistic portrait of kind of getting to know her through these sound bites of like, because she talked about relationships, the shit she's gone through, and I thought maybe it was giving like a more kind of fuller picture of her as a person, along with like the art going together. That's just my thought, but what are your thoughts to that?
You're saying like the sound bites being like the little interludes, like
or like, because there's some songs where
just at the end, like in Pamplemousse and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's probably a great assessment. I think they all kind of operate as different things. Like the one that we heard at Pamplemousse is obviously like I think her. What did we say? Stake in her claim, claiming the stake. I don't know which is right out of the two phrases there. Yeah. She's sirloining her claim, and she's, I think, like, you know, shoving that flag in the top of whatever mountain of pop and saying like, hey, I'm here too, sort of thing, with that one, right? Being like, I have people begging for my unreleased tracks, right? Like, sort of thing. And I think that's like kind of puffing her chest out in that one. But then you have the other one that I kind of talked about as well, with the woman going on saying like, hey, like, I'm not the rock star's girlfriend. I'm the rock star girlfriend. Like, I'm the rock star. My boyfriend is the boyfriend of the rock star. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's like a very different thing, right? Where she's talking about what we were saying, right? With 2021 being like a year for her, seen by many anyways. I'm sure it's probably not this way for her, or she has different views on it, but seen by many, that year was defined by the allegations and the suing of Shia LaBeouf. So I think kind of reclaiming like, no, like I wasn't that person's partner. Or I'm never going to be that person's partner, whoever that person is now, right? Or will be in the future. Yeah, they're my partner because I'm a rock star. Like I'm a star, right? And like I can handle my own, sort of thing, which I think is a powerful thing too. And they're done like with comedic things, right? Because even the one where it's like, you know, like my boyfriend, he's not the rock star, I'm the rock star. Like even when you hear that little skit, like it's still funny, just because like the way that people are talking about it are like funny. Like there's a little tongue in cheek to it, and that's not lost. I think like that's intentional. She's not trying to get too serious while broaching, I think, serious topics. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Any final comments before we get into the next track here from formerly known as Twigsy?
Well, what do you have lined up for us for this next track?
Yeah, so the last track I'm going to play from Twigs here is called Honda. It's probably my favorite song on the album. I do a thing on Apple Music for all my 13 followers and me that I make a playlist at the beginning of the year, and I add my favorite songs that come out that year. And then I see at the end of the year what my playlist is like. And last year's playlist was like 9 hours long because of Servant Sonic. Like I just had so many extra songs. I was like, God damn it. So I've tried to listen to it, but like I always do it on shuffle because I don't want to listen to the same order every time. And I get the same fucking songs every time because now the algorithm thinks those are the only songs I want to listen to. And I'm like, no, like come on. I need the other ones. Like I've listened to this Benny Sing song like 200 times for fuck's sakes, you know? But yeah, so anyways, she was the first addition on that playlist. Cause I was like, wow, this song is awesome. And it was Honda, the song that I threw on there. So, the song that we've got here is called Honda. It's featuring another English, artist. He's a rapper, up and coming rapper in England named Salieu. And it's just a dope track. So enjoy it. And, we'll be back with you shortly.
So, yeah, one morning, I don't know, Monday or something, summertime, you know, all tired and shit, sleep under my eyes, looking at myself in the mirror. Who's that? Are you listening? Anyways, I'm one of a kind. Well, people like me, one of a kind. When life gives us lemons, we just take in the essence. You know what I mean? Don't look back, keep driving. You know what I'm saying? Leave the sourness behind you. Keep driving. Leave it to the streets. That's it. OTSS, only the strongest survive. Honda, baby.
Baby, we can roll it on the and we smoke it. Honda, roll it. Baby, we can smoke it. Ooh, on the and we, yeah, Honda, what's up? One of a kind. From sunlight to moonshine, you'll always be mine. They don't understand like we do. Look, conquer, you never have to worry cause they under you. I wonder why you so delicious. Baby, you can roll, here's a Rizzler. Honda smoke while we glide on the M-way. Feel it when you move your body, control your body, the back, baby got an eye for money. Baby love a girl who golly, who move her back to back.
Sepp's twinning, baby, Louis V matching. Hold it down, baby, we can travel around the globe. Come and fly with me. Like my jigger kid that said, we can get a jiggy. There ain't no one like you, there ain't no one like me. Would you still be a freak even when we turn 50? Still run my Zeus even when we turn 60? Would you hold it down if a judge gave me 20? Slap me 20.
One of a kind. True Sam, one of a kind, baby. From sunlight to moonshine, you'll always be mine. They don't understand like we do. Wonder boy, interplay in my vicinity. We are the synergy, yeah. I see the way that you walk in the center. This thing salute making work.
Eyes in the
back,
never be
slap,
energy,
sweet, feeling me.
Where you moving it amaze me, darling. You the baddest, how can I deny it?
Baby, we can roll it. Ooh, on the and we, yeah, smoke it. Honda, roll it. Baby, we can smoke it. Ooh, on the and we, yeah, Honda, Rizla. Ooh, baby, we can roll it. On the and we smoke it. Yeah, Honda, roll it. Baby, we can smoke it. Ooh, on the and we, yeah, Honda, Rizla. Ooh, baby, we can smoke it. On the and we, Honda, Rizla. Baby, we can smoke it. Ooh, on the and we, yeah, Honda, Rizla. Ooh, baby, Honda.
That dissident piano at the end there.
Yeah, what the heck? That was awesome.
What was that?
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of that track, for sure.
And if you're listening with headphones at home, folks, you get the little stereo one side to the other, which is you're like, oh.
Well, I also failed to mention that the production on this album is really good.
Yeah, fire.
Very, very, very good.
Extra fire. Yeah, and you got a lot of the Afrobeat influence there. I know I know her dad was Jamaican and her mom, I think, was Spanish. So she's got not obviously Afro influence directly, but she's got Jamaican influence, which has like a lot of similar sort of rhythms and whatnot.
Well, I also read I also read that there's this thing that a lot of her songs explore Afrofuturism, which is like a cultural aesthetic. It's actually a philosophy of science and philosophy of history that explores the developing intersection of African diaspora culture with technology. So there you go. There you go.
Yeah. So there.
That was dope. That was a banger. Just like I was doing this the whole time.
Totally.
I was vibing. Yeah.
And Pasta Lou is sick. I'd never heard of him before this, and he comes in so hard, and you're just kind of like
stank face. Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, there we go. That's FKA / formerly known as Twigs / Twigsy / Twig forever. So don't Google it. We've learned the hard way. But anyways, that's that. But now what I'm really excited for is for the spicy staple that we have coming up. And why I'm so excited for it is because we have an actual musician in our midst to help us with the spicy staple intro that we do. So as you may know, if you've listened before, folks, we have an a cappella intro that we do for the spicy staple. Usually it's just me grunting really hard to the point where my throat gets absolutely thrashed, and Hunter banging on his desk, and Jake doing falsetto. So not much in the way of where you could go wrong if you wanted to make subtle improvements here, Sando. But we started off with a little spicy staples, spicy staples, and it's a spicy staple, spicy staple, spicy staple. You have a bottle? I need a spicy staple. I got blisters on my fingers. There it is.
That was the.
No, there's our industrial metal.
Right there.
Yeah, there you go.
We nailed it.
But spicy staple being dealt with today by Sando himself. As you know, if you've listened before, all of our guests, when they come on, we want them to bring the spicy staple. And the spicy staple is an album that's important to us for one reason or another. Anything in history is on the table. So what do you got for us today, Sando?
I'm in for this one.
Yeah. So today I have the song I'm choosing today is Velours from the album Métropole, from the artist Anomalie. As you can tell, I know these guys are big fans of French, so I chose a song from an album from a Quebec artist. Really great artist. His name is Anomalie, like I said. And this album absolutely hit home. Like I was mentioning these guys before, it got me into like a lot of like new jazz and stuff like that. So really excited to show you guys the song that's probably my favorite track on this album, Velours, on Métropole.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Wah wah wee wah.
Funky. That has got some funk to it.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. First time I ever heard this song, my head almost fell off my head. My neck.
Your head.
Crazy. Yeah.
Your head doubled.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then your head almost fell off.
Yeah.
Your doubled head.
Exactly. You ever seen a giraffe get in a fight? That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
To
whipping them things.
Yeah. Exactly.
FKA giraffe. Formerly known as giraffe.
Formerly known as giraffe. Yeah. So yeah, Anomalie. This guy is a person who has such a unique style. That again, like, got me really into a lot of like instrumental jazz fusion. It got me into a lot of stuff like Snarky Puppy, things like that. And funny enough, there's a lot of his inspirations as well. Nicolas Dupuis, known professionally as Anomalie, is a Canadian multi-instrumentalist, classically trained keyboardist and producer from Montreal, Quebec. Right. I first discovered him actually through a friend. I lived with a bunch of new jazz enthusiasts, as I mentioned, and a friend of mine is from Quebec, so a lot of that music is very local. He's born in Montreal. He's kind of like myself, began studying classically, did some jazz piano, a lot of performance at a young age, a lot of competitions, how a lot of these guys come from. The name Anomalie, of course, comes from the it's an easy to say French and English word, as they speak both Francais and English. But it comes from the idea of like not fitting in the conventional way. He chose it because of the nature of his music, assimilating classical, hip hop, jazz. As mentioned in an interview back in 2016, he started out as jazz fusion, which in many ways he still is, but evolved to like new jazz and, as Hunter mentioned, future funk. Right. But in terms of the this style is so unique. I can't like emphasize that enough. I feel like I've listened to a lot of music, and nothing really kind of compares to a lot of his like really great understandings of harmony, which again has to come from like a decent like classical background, but a lot of like jazz background as well, in terms of like you can hear the guy, like his licks, in terms of like his piano, like how he plays it. It's so smooth and effective, and it's just like you can tell there's a lot of effort that went into like learning that kind of thing. rising to worldwide fame after the release of his 2 EPs, Metropole Part 1 and Part 2. So what we heard today was just the Part 1. Metropole is like his first album, and he released a Metropole Part 2 in 2018, the first one coming out in 2017. He developed a distinct and instantly recognizable musical identity. His style innovatively combines cutting-edge electronic production, jazz, and classical harmonies, virtuoso keyboard skills, like I mentioned, and an undeniably raw funk groove, connecting it all together. This places his career in a singular position. His public signs including, an eclectic mix of music heavyweights like Mr. Charlie Puth, who's coming out with some music soon, Chromeo, D-Smoke, and Snarky Pops, like I mentioned before. And his fan base is a mix of a new jazz scene. So if you guys know Lewis Cole at all, he really got me onto this guy as well. Kiefer and the soulful beat scene. So like FKJ, Masego, Tom Misch, and post-upset electronic scene like Grease, Odessa, and Opio. I'm saying that right. As mentioned in an article from Crates, he's also collaborated with this guy named Rob Araujo, who's probably like the only other person I know who's from the States, but he's a really amazing keyboard player, and he produces a lot of the similar kind of like electronic and instrumental music that's very funk and like jazz based. Right off the bat, though, I was like, that's like, what do you guys like think of like that song when you heard it for the first time, or even like some songs from the album?
Yeah, well, I loved, I guess, and maybe you can explain it more for me, Alex, but the layering, like that layering between like the funky keys I was hearing, I could hear a little bit of Herbie Hancock in there. That's what first connected with me, but I think I saw through, maybe I was looking up videos of the artist here, and it looked like he's got the classical piano, a beat maker, and then like another, maybe like a funk type piano. I don't know if I'm even right, but like that kind of like double mixing and layering of everything it blew my mind as well. So and this is my first exposure, so I am a fan now. I am definitely a fan.
Yeah, well, speaking of Herbie Hancock, that's actually a really great point, because he has an interview where he mentioned that Herbie Hancock in the jazz fusion world, where like they were shredding and amazing solos and synth sounds, like where he got a lot of his inspiration. It's exactly that, these like keyboards and synthesizers and stuff like that. It seems like it's the kind of thing that like is layered all like to the extent that he does it, but he does a lot of this stuff live too. So it's like, it's bananas to watch him actually do it in like a live session. And actually like, that's where he got a lot of his like early career was through like, cheeky Facebook live videos, right? He actually he was doing a lot of these like live things. It turned into, of course, like by the end of like 2020, like he sold out 2 world tours in North America, Europe, and Asia with like a 4-piece live band. He has this like keyboardist Grammatic who follows him a lot. It grew his online following in like millions across social media. He's performed at like Red Rocks, Montreal, and Toronto Jazz Festival, Electric Forest Festival. But yeah, he started with doing just a lot of live videos, making a lot of content. He mentioned that he wanted to like do that kind of thing where he was making music, directing films, and doing stuff like that. So he started a lot of this on YouTube, as a lot of these guys do. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Lee, were you gonna say something? Sorry.
I mean, there's a couple things like but to answer your question of this song, so I did a twice over when you told me this was going to be the album that you wanted to do earlier in the week. So I listened to it a couple days ago, and I listened to it again today. And there's a couple of different artists that it reminds me of. I think Herbie Hancock is a great one, Hunter. And, you could say that about any keyboardist worth their weight that's in neo jazz. They're obsessed with Herbie Hancock. I can but guarantee you that. Yep. So, and it's because he created the genre for many, right? Like that jazz fusion, like you're talking about. He was the godfather. So yeah, you can hear it. You can hear it for sure. I think another one though, you can hear Chromeo, which you mentioned they great. Collaborated with, because a funny thing, Anomalie, when you brought him up, I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard of this artist before. And then I went to my Apple Music to put on the album, and I accidentally had it set to my library as opposed to Apple Music, when you like do the search.
Yeah. Yep.
So I do the search in my library. Turns out I have a song that has Anomalie on it. You want to know what it was? Anomalie and Chromeo did a song together. And if I had my phone on me, I could tell you what it was. But it was some French ass sounding stuff. It was like Camp de Mars or something like that. But it's a banger, and it's actually on my 2021 playlist like I was talking about, the one that's 9 hours long. So it's in there. And the reason I never listen to it is because it's always unshuffled or it's always shuffled. So I never get the right shuffle for it, which is a bummer. But yeah, so fucking Benny sings. But no, like I think like I think there's a little bit of Chromeo in it as well. There's some other kind of like pop influences, but it's like that. It's what you were talking about though, Sando. It's the beat maker side of it. We've talked about beat makers before on the show in different ways. Like we've talked about the Kount was one of them that we brought up. I know you know the Kount as well, another Canadian, like YouTube / Instagram / just like social media beat maker. That's where he's really famous. And these are starting to happen more and more. And I think Anomalie is definitely in that as well. Who's probably pushed it beyond though after actually releasing some full length albums. Do you think that that's like the new SoundCloud? Because you know how like SoundCloud rappers, that's how like there was like a couple of years there where they like used to get really, really blown up pretty quick. Like Panda, for instance, with Designer, SoundCloud, right? Like those sorts of things. Do you think like the next thing is like these Instagram or TikTok or like Twitter beat makers? Like, is that the next stage of getting viral and blowing up?
Well, even a lot of these, like even like Anomalie, for instance, like produces a lot of TikTok made content, right? So it's literally going to be either a minute long or like whatever the 3 minutes that they give you type thing. Yeah. That like with the steady, like the crazy, increase of TikTok users during the pandemic, right? You're seeing a lot of even like, artists who've made their living and like are really, really famous now, like creating specific content like the Kount for these mediums. It's like, it's the kind of thing that like a lot of people are kind of gearing themselves towards. And I'm not sure you guys might agree as well, but like in the past, like even 5 years, when people tell me like, hey, like, I'm on SoundCloud or I'm listening to like this SoundCloud song, or like sometimes Lee and I used to fundraise together. So it'd be like, hey, can I guess what you're listening to like stop them to get them to donate to charities? Cause I'm a
solid move. Yeah.
They would say, can I guess what you're listening to? And if people typically listen to Spotify or Apple Music, but if anybody ever said like, oh, I'm just on SoundCloud just to discover thing, it's like, okay,
whoa,
yeah,
you're kind of cool.
You might be a psychopath, but I like you. I like you a whole bunch. What's your number? Let's be friends now.
Are you a mole? Because you're underground, my guy. So that was like, like it's like the most underground.
Are you a murderer? Because as I said, you're a psychopath. You're you scare the shit out of me. What are you doing on SoundCloud? Yeah,
it's like SoundCloud was the venue for a lot of starting out rappers, and I think it's a lot of starting out musicians in general. But nowadays it's like you have to be a jack of all trades when it comes down to it. And like with this guy, starting at 2016, 17, like Facebook Live's pretty, it's pretty big at that point because it was starting out there. So it's only a matter of time before like Velours, for instance, like took off with like 200K views on Facebook in 2 days. And it's just like, when people see that you're a wizard on the keys and you make great content, like that's how you create these, these albums and how you create such a following. And again, he's still like, I wouldn't say he's starting out, like he's got a pretty great following right now. But he's still like creating like, more albums, stuff like that. These were like just the first two that he made back in 2017, 18. But he's got some music coming out very soon, which is super exciting. He's got a couple singles he came out with, which was, it's called Bond. And the other's called Dribble, and they're both fantastic songs. I definitely recommend you guys check them out.
Yeah,
but
there's
question.
Well, with new jazz specifically, it borrows a lot from like conventionally more house type song structures, right? Which like obviously jazz influence as well, but like you can even hear it in here where there's like little almost fills and then there's like a riser and like, stuff like that. Just like little house kind of things to break up the song. And yeah, I think it's like, it's interesting because like you have even some of the keys that it has, like the way that they're effects out. Like I'm sure the effects rack is just fucking
bananas,
blasted, blasted with shit, going crazy. But it's just like so sick. Like they have like these cool little filters that are like, create like a bit of an echo, but also this like kind of like tinny sound. And yeah, he's getting so much sounds out of his keys that it's really cool to hear all the different layers that he's producing, he's making there.
Yeah, and like I mean, like as silly as they are, like when I make these little songs, stuff like that, there's a lot of like production that goes into it. But like it's of like the most mediocre sense. Like I'm just like learning it type thing. But when you hear stuff like that, like even like the woo,
yeah,
when he does that, like that's so fun. It's so great.
Yeah,
there's so much that goes into like that little
100%.
part that
100%.
like really makes a song, right? And like he only does it twice, but it's like the best part of the song every time.
That's like something that I think is true of a lot of dance influenced or dance touched music. Is I think people hear dance music and they're like, oh, like, you know, not real music, or like, you know, stuff like that. Like it's the same. It's the same bullshit that hip hop's had to deal with for years, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, sure, like you can say that, but I can guarantee you, someone sat down for like 30 fucking hours in front of a laptop and was like, hey, like I need to like, you know, essentially
all put together.
Essentially program this exactly right. And it's difficult to be
like,
do.
Where's the lyrics?
Yeah, exactly. For someone to be like, this is just another instant. It's like, I'm sorry. Are you trying to audio search in Google FKA twigs? Is that what you're doing, sir?
Trying to pronounce that as fkatwigs?
Yeah. Sir, what the heck are you talking about? Also, are you listening to SoundCloud? What the? Jesus, you're terrifying. But yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, and actually, I had a question for you guys. I had a cheeky question. So like, you guys have, you know, played some instrumental tracks in the past, like, you know, Bad Bad Not Good. A lot of these guys, like Bad Bad Not Good, Snarky Puppy, they have a reputation for instrumental music that is still like an absolute banger. Of the producers that you guys have either spoken of, or even artists that you know that specialize in music with vocals, speaking of that, which do you think of those would have an amazing solely instrumental album?
Oh man.
Well, we've spoken on Kount. I think Kount is an easy one. We've had the Kount be in a combat rock, so the Kount is another good one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Bad Bad Not Good. It's already been mentioned.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Of the people, like for instance, Kanye West, obviously a great producer. But
you're saying people that don't generally do that.
Exactly. So people who like specialize in vocal music,
right?
Which of those do you think would just have like a super dope, just like instrumental based track or instrumental based album that like is listenable?
I don't know, Hunter. Do you have one on the top of your brain?
I'm trying to like. I think off the top of my head, if there was like, let's say, now would like a band classify? Do I have that right? Like, yeah. Like, it's biased, of course, but I think Mastodon, if they did an instrumental album, I would check that out.
Nice.
I mean, they've done.
Well, they have. Okay, they have
such gigantic chunks. Of instrumental music.
Well, they've done, and they have done that with "Crack the Sky" when they did like
exactly. They had like.
But if they just did like a pure instrumental, I would be very interested to see what they could do.
Yeah, I think that's
I
think that's a good one. A good band that could do an instrument that we've covered before. That would do instrumental. That's
How about you, Lee? Anything comes to mind for you?
I mean, I think I don't know if Kount has made like a fully non-vocal album or project before, but I would surmise it would be just as danceable, and I would take my shirt off and slap my ass and jump off a bridge.
You'd be ready. You'd be there for it.
But it's funny, Sando, I know you brought up Kanye, and it's funny with that one because I think Kanye, although I think Kanye's production's amazing, I think so much of it hinges on his use of the voice that I don't know what it would sound like. Like some of his biggest songs, some of his most memorable songs are like have chanting, right? Like Jesus Walks, Power, right? Some of the most like iconic songs he has are so heavily reliant on vocals. So I don't know. I think it'd be tough. But yeah, I'll stick with Kount for now.
Yeah.
Because shouts out Montreal.
There you go.
Yeah,
I love it. But yeah, so in general, like just to kind of end off with Anomalie, like he's still working on a lot of stuff right now. But like it's like a lot of this stuff, like I said, it started at an early age when, you know, he goes to like jazz schools and stuff like that to like learn a lot of this like Herbie Hancock type like synthesizers and things like that. And I think again, like even someone does a really, really great kind of review of the actual album itself. So like if you guys like, I've heard like the whole thing, it's in the beginning, so like the Metropole song, even Velours, like they both racked up so many views and stuff like that. To establish that these are Wizard on the Keys. The rest of the EP is equally as amazing. I personally like really also love the track Interlude, which is just, it's literally just an interlude.
That's mine too.
Like,
I like that.
Yeah, but he's just got a really great. It's just again like it's not about him being a Wizard on the Keys. It's the harmonies that he uses that like you can hear just kind of like swimming within each other. It's like what are you doing, man? This is
what is this?
Yeah, so I really love that. There's he has a lot of like these kinds of French harmonies, and like I'm not even trying to be like funny about it. Like he has a lot of like what sounds like influence stuff from what's known as Claude Debussy and Maurice Ravel, two of like the Frenchiest of the French impressionist composers from back in the day. And like you can hear a lot of this in his music. It's just like a lot of lush tones. The Daybreak and Velours bring with swinging beats and incredible melodies. Something about like another short instrumentation, seemingly chilled out track, The New Space, that hides a surprise or two. There's like country blues opening chords of the final track, Le Blurry. It's a banger of a song, Le Blurry. I think that's how you say it.
La Blurry.
Feel like things are about to slow down, but just in a few seconds, the song turns into literally like an irresistible hip hop banger that could rock like a festival crowd. And also, he's got a really great sense of cohesiveness in both albums. The second album, he kind of focused on the same kind of thing. Like he has the same kinds of like synths and like different like instrumentations and stuff like that, and like layering. That's crazy, but he creates it more cohesiveness by like having like a theme at the beginning and like tying it in at various points of the album, especially at the end. And he adds like strings. It's just a more like if Metropole 1 was like thinnish, Metropole 2 was like thick, right? It's got a lot. It's a big thick album. There's a lot that goes into it.
It's the Kyle Lowry. You can say it.
The Kyle Lowry,
you can say it.
But yeah, so that's pretty much to kind of like wrap up these this really great artist. Yeah, it's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Now, if you had to give it a rating out of 10, what would that be?
10? Yeah, I would give it a straight up 9.5 French synths.
There we
French
go.
synths.
French synths.
Yeah.
Synths. Say that 5 times fast.
Korg.
Le Blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. What would a Moog be in French? A Moog.
Le Moog. I don't know.
Yeah. Model de. There you go. Well, thank you so much, Sando. Really appreciate that.
Awesome.
More bangers, more everything. Awesome. Well, guys, that brings us to our final segment of the episode and what we call combat rock. Now, combat rock, ladies and gentlemen, combat rock is a moment where two hosts go head to head in what is a battle for everything, really. It's a battle for all your loved ones. If you win, you get my mom and dad. If I win, I get your mom and dad. It's a battle for all the food in your fridge. If I win, I get your milk. I don't care if it's been in there for 3 months. I want that milk. That could be good cheese any minute. If you win, you get the baby carrots that have been in my fridge since I moved in here. But folks, really what it is it's for the ultimate bragging rights. And we actually started doing season 2 Combat Rock before season 2 started. And Jake won that first week matchup. But since Jake isn't here, you want to know what I think, Hunter?
What's that?
Fuck it. This is season 2 Combat Rock.
Okay.
Starting now. Me v. you.
Okay, here we go.
And Jake can't say shit because he's not here. And Sando is Jake, and he has no idea what we're talking about. So we win, as far as I'm concerned.
That's it.
What say you?
I say, so hold on. We're like this. It's 0-0 everybody now. We're starting off fresh.
Yeah, I think we're clean slate. Okay. Let's go.
He's not here to argue, so.
Yeah, the only person that misses out is Jake.
Yeah.
Because he was the only one that had a point. So I say we scrap the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the whole point of this, guys, is how it works is we play 30 seconds of a song that came out recently. And we lobby for another 30 seconds why we think this song is so awesome and why we think you should choose it as the Combat Rock winner of the week. How you choose this is by going to our social media at either Twitter or Instagram. You can find us at Servin Sonic, not Surfin Sonic. We're not the Beach Boys.
Yeah, we're not the Beach Boys.
Servin Sonic. Yep, Servin Sonic is where you can find us. And we'll put up a poll the day the episode drops, and sometimes the day after as well. And we will see your votes there. So you get to choose which song you like better of the 30 seconds that you heard. Whoever wins gets that point. Whoever gets to 5 points first gets to make the losers do something gross on camera. If you weren't here for the first one, I won, and I made Hunter drink. I think you drank mayonnaise and chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk, yeah. Well, okay, it doesn't have to be gross. Yeah, it was awful.
Well, it should be gross.
It can be painful too. I would prefer pain.
Like you have to listen to Spotify Discovery on repeat for 5 hours.
Yeah, or the Wiggles or something.
Yeah,
no respect to the Wiggles.
Yeah. Shout out Fruit Salad. That song fucking slaps. Yummy fruit salad.
Very good.
Fuck yeah. And then that's kind of it. I'm trying to remember what Jake had. I think it was tahini and beer.
Yeah.
Markedly worse than what you had to do, in my opinion. Tahini and beer sounds disgusting.
It was just the appearance. The appearance is
it looked like legit vomit.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. But anyway, so we have Hunter and I going head to head this week. And Hunter, you're going to start us off. What is your song? Why should we care?
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna probably butcher her name. I don't mean to, but Ruth Berhe, or commonly known as Ruth B, stage name. A Canadian singer songwriter from Edmonton, Alberta. We're keeping it local, Canada. This song is off her new album, Moments in Between. And fun fact, you've probably heard the song Lost Boy, very popular with her. Has garnered her 650 million streams on Spotify. So there you go. The song that I have for you is, and I do not, oh yes, it is called Princess Peach. And Lee, if you will, take a listen.
In make-believe, but when I met you in the heart of summer, I knew you weren't like the others. I've got walls for my walls, but they fall as I fall for you. I've got walls for my walls, but they fall as I fall for you. I like to rescue myself. I've always been my own hero.
Just good old, singer, songwriter, beautiful voice, Ruth B. There you go.
Ruth B. That sounds like a teacher in primary school. And Ruth B. Is Ruth B. Ruth B. Lay it again. Oh, Ruth. Ruth, you're just coming in now, are you? Well, you're lucky I just said your name. I just said Ruth B. Ruth C. was here before you, actually. Yeah, she was. So, Ruth B.
No disrespect to Ruth B, but it does sound like if there were two Ruths in the class, and then it's like, okay, this
Ruth
is
C.
You be Ruth B, you be Ruth A. Yeah,
Ruth C. manages to get here on time, and she takes the school bus. What's your excuse, Ruth B? You live right around the corner. I know. I talked to your parents during teacher-parent interviews last week.
The bees. The bees are coming into the school.
Anyways, Ruth B. Shouts out Ruth B. Edmonton. Shouts out Edmonton. Woo! But really, folks, shouts out Toronto. Right? Edmonton? Shouts out Toronto. You want to know why shouts out Toronto? Because the Kount. The Kount has given us endless bangers. He's been mentioned on the show before we even had to get to Combat Rock today because he makes bangers. Where was Ruth B? Late to class again, I'll tell you that. Late to class again. The Kount was here the whole time. All right? The Kount put out a song today. This is hot off the press. I don't know when Ruth B made that song, but I know today, this is some fresh ass shit. All right? Fresh out your butt on a pissy toilet seat shit. All right? This song is called Basquiat, featuring Othxhello and Verzache. The Kount, one of my favorite beat makers online. Let's get it.
Why you tryna keep me on my bag? I've been rocking out while you been waiting. I work too hard to finally leave the mat. I need some inspiration, get the Basquiat. Why you tryna keep me on my bag?
Basquiat.
Biscotti.
Eddie.
Biscotti. So there you go. That's Combat Rock this week, folks. A real battle of the genres.
Well, to make a plea for my vote, I will say the Count's already been featured before, folks.
Yes.
Would you like to hear something new, or would you like to hear
A valid
thing,
thing.
or would you like
A
to
valid
hear the
thing to
same
say.
old meat and potatoes? I just got to put that out there to
A valid thing to say. And what I will say,
for me.
and what I will say to that is, Ruth B, where are you? Where I said your name 12 times.
You just heard her.
God damn it! If she could just be on time once. God damn it, Ruth. The Count's been here. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's going to be a heavy hitting Combat Rock this week, folks. So go on to our Instagram, go on to our Twitter, and vote. Let your voices be heard, because it's obvious that Hunter and I will never get this sorted without your help. We're children.
Oh yes, of course.
Did you see?
Fight day and night.
We'll fight all. We'll fight. I'm gonna yell Ruth B at the top of my lungs the entire time.
I'm gonna
like I'm Google after you search FKA.
I'm gonna scream FKA at you when we're next in class.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
across the hallway. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take it. I'm gonna have to take it. That's the relationship that we've conjured.
Dramatic,
here.
a dramatic turnaround.
Yeah. But anyways, here it is. Combat Rock. Go vote whenever you're listening or watching this episode. That poll is up, so go do it in your world or in your time now. In the future for us, but for you now. Awesome. Well, guys, that kind of brings the show to an end. Thank you so much, Sando, for joining us. I just want to say to everyone out there again, go follow Sando on his various accounts. The one account is at Alex, ALEXF, the letter F, SANDS, Alex F. Sands. That's where you can find him. And then the music account. What's the music account?
What's the music account?
Sando's Music.
SANDOS Music. That's it right there. And he just said it. He just said it right to your face, folks. F4F. That's follow for follow, baby.
Let's do it.
That's follow for follow, baby. F4F. That's some SoundCloud era reference right there. F4F. There you go. Let's give a follow for follow shout out real quick there. And as you'll see, if you're watching on YouTube, folks, at the bottom, scrolling across, you can follow us as well. Follow us at Servant Sonic on Twitter or on Instagram. And you can get more from us as well. But thanks so much for joining us and being a part of the second season of Servant Sonic here with Hunter, myself, and Sando.
Sando, first guest. Woo!
Yeah, official first guest, first episode of the new season.
He is here.
Yeah, first episode of the new season, and we've got a guest right at the gate. So big things to come this year. Sando, I want you to be the person who sends us off here. Do you have any important messages for any of our listeners out there? Do you have someone that you've been just waiting for an opportunity to call them out in front of a large audience? Because let me tell you, we have listeners in Germany, so if you want this to stretch as far as possible, you can get one German really fired up.
Yeah. Well, Lee, back in grade 10, Jim, I didn't fart. It was Toby, and you blamed it on me.
Who pissed on the seat, Sando? Who pissed on the seat?
If you guys ever
who went into the girls' washroom and pissed on the seat? Because I went there too.
Don't forget to aim and also wipe the seat down. All right, that's my message. Okay?
Good message. Maybe we should real quick before we go.
Just having a bad day. No hash browns at Tim Hortons, and the slowest fucking subway. Babe, I can't see coffee stains. The dark and stormy weather is above my pay grade. I've been working like a dog, oh, it's time to take a break. Open up the washroom stall, oh, for fuck's sake. There's on the seat, on the toilet seat.
Mate, I'm gonna make a makeshift fucking toilet paper seat so my ass doesn't get drenched.
There's on the seats, on the toilet seats.
Better learn to aim that piss or take a class to aim that dick hole.
I got a shit, but there's only one stall. The toilet stinks, but there's one down the hall. The women's washroom's always clean. I open it up, and what do I see?
Piss on the seats, on the toilet seats.
I'm genuinely confused. I'm confused. Like, are y'all squatting over this thing? What is happening?
Piss on the seat, on the toilet.
I'm deleting that video tonight.
Had to play the oyster, but you couldn't even give the guy another song.
Well, we had to play Piss on the Seat one more time. One more time.
For anyone on YouTube, this is that was orange juice. I didn't film.
Well, certainly looked like this. Well, you said you've been working like a dog. How many waters have you been mixing in there, big guy?
Fair.
But no, any message you want to end off with here other than Piss on the Seat?
Yeah, follow Servant Sonic and tell your friends. They're the best podcast in the world.
Wow.
Oh, too kind.
Wow. Yeah. Look at that. Stamp of approval. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week, folks. For Hunter, for Sando, for myself. Keep it sleazy, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Welcome to 2022.
Let's get it.